Let me ask you something, have you ever tried to do something simple on Ethereum? Swap a token, send some ETH to a friend, interact with a DeFi app and then completely froze when you saw the fee, $20, $30, sometimes $50 or more, just to move your own money, and the worst part, the fee has nothing to do with how much you are sending. You could be moving $15 worth of crypto and paying $40 just in fees. It makes no sense, but here is what nobody tells you: this problem has already been solved, completely, and in 2026, millions of people are doing those exact same transactions for less than a single penny. I am going to show you exactly how the Ethereum fee system works, why it breaks down, what the Dencun upgrade changed forever, and how you can start saving money on every single transaction starting today. This is the video I wish someone had made for me when I first started. Let's go. The real reason Ethereum fees get so expensive: to fix a problem, you have to understand it first. So let's talk about why Ethereum fees exist and why they spiral out of control. Every action you take on Ethereum, sending tokens, swapping on a DEX, minting an NFT, depositing into a yield protocol, requires the Ethereum network to do computational work. That work is measured in units called gas. And whoever does that work, the validators who keep the network running, needs to get paid. That payment is your gas fee. Simple enough, but here is where it gets complicated. Ethereum can only process a limited number of transactions per second, roughly 15 to 30 on its main net. That is a very small number when you have millions of users all wanting to transact at the same time. Picture a popular restaurant with only 10 tables. On a quiet Tuesday morning, you walk right in and sit down, no wait, no problem. But on a Friday night when the restaurant is packed, you have to fight for a table, and the person willing to pay the most for a reservation gets in first. That is exactly how Ethereum works. When the network is busy, users bid against each other in real time to get their transactions processed. The higher your gas bid, the faster you get in. The lower your bid, the longer you wait. And during peak times, the fees can be absolutely shocking. This is not a bug. It is actually how Ethereum was designed to handle demand, but for everyday users trying to do small transactions, it completely breaks the experience. During peak congestion on Ethereum mainnet, a simple token swap can cost upwards of $80 in gas fees. For someone trying to swap $50 worth of crypto, that is completely unaffordable, and this is exactly the problem that Layer 2 networks were built to solve. The invisible upgrade that changed everything. Dencun 2024. Before we get to the solutions, there is one critical piece of history you need to understand, because it explains why Layer 2 fees in 2026 are dramatically lower than they were even 2 years ago. On March 13, 2024, Ethereum activated a major upgrade called Dencun. Most people in crypto heard about it briefly and moved on, but what happened under the hood was genuinely revolutionary for anyone using Layer 2 networks. The most important part of Dencun was something called EIP 4844, also known as proto-danksharding. Here is the simple version of what it did. Before Dencun, Layer 2 networks had to regularly report their transaction data back to Ethereum mainnet. They did this by posting data using something called call data, which is a type of permanent storage on Ethereum. Permanent storage is expensive. Nearly 95% of Layer 2 rollups' operating costs came from posting this call data to Ethereum mainnet, and those costs were passed directly to users. EIP 4844 introduced a completely new data type called blobs. Think of a blob like a temporary storage container. It holds the Layer 2 data, lets Ethereum verify it, and then automatically deletes itself after about 18 days. Because blobs are temporary rather than permanent, they are dramatically cheaper to use. Data blobs are 10 times cheaper than call data, immediately lowering gas fees for all Layer 2 users. With EIP 4844's introduction, rollups on Ethereum experienced up to a 100x drop in transaction fees. The impact was felt immediately. Transactions that previously cost 5 to 10 cents on Layer 2 dropped to fractions of a penny overnight. A transaction on Optimism after Dencun costs less than 1/10 of a cent, about 1,000 times cheaper than before the upgrade. Even in 2026, the Dencun upgrade remains a foundation for how Ethereum handles data availability, transaction costs, and scalability, and continues to shape the entire Layer 2 ecosystem. Layer 2 networks, your express route to cheap transactions. So what exactly is a Layer 2 network, and how does it give you cheaper transactions while still keeping your money safe? Here is the clearest way to think about it. Imagine Ethereum mainnet is a massive, highly secure central bank. It is incredibly reliable, incredibly secure, and incredibly expensive to use for everyday transactions. You would not go to your central bank to buy a coffee. Layer 2 networks are like a digital payment card. Connected to that central bank, you do your everyday transactions quickly and cheaply on the card, and periodically, the card settles up with the central bank in bulk, verifying everything that happened. Layer 2 rollups execute transactions on their own chains, bundle them together, and settle the results back on Ethereum mainnet. This method reduces costs dramatically while retaining Ethereum's security properties. The key word here is bundle. Instead of sending each transaction individually to Ethereum, which would cost full mainnet fees, Layer 2 networks collect thousands of transactions, compress them into one batch, and submit a single summary to Ethereum. The cost of that one submission is then split across thousands of users, which is why individual fees drop to almost nothing. In 2026, Layer 2 networks process roughly 60 to 70% of all Ethereum transaction volume, meaning the majority of Ethereum activity is already happening on Layer 2. This is not an experiment anymore. This is the mainstream way to use Ethereum, and crucially, your money on a Layer 2 is still secured by Ethereum. The security guarantee does not disappear just because your transaction happens off-chain. The cryptographic proof is always available on Ethereum mainnet for anyone to verify. Base, the best Layer 2 for beginners in 2026. Base was created by Coinbase and launched in August 2023. In just a few years, it has become one of the most widely used Layer 2 networks in the world. The reason is simple: Coinbase is one of the most trusted names in crypto, particularly in the USA. Millions of people already have Coinbase accounts, and Base makes it incredibly easy for those users to access cheap transactions without any complicated setup. In November 2024, Base processed $55 billion in weekly stablecoin volume, capturing 18% of the global market share and briefly overtaking both Ethereum and Solana in stablecoin activity. Base fees are consistently under $0.01, often just $0.001 or less. There is no native token required, you just use ETH, and because of its connection to Coinbase, moving your funds to Base is one of the easiest things in crypto. Base is built on the OP stack technology, the same framework used by Optimism, which makes it extremely reliable and well tested. It is the best starting point for beginners in 2026. Arbitrum, the DeFi powerhouse of Layer 2. Arbitrum launched in August 2021 and has earned its reputation as the most battle-tested Layer 2 in existence. It has been through multiple market cycles, survived stress tests, and maintained its position as the DeFi capital of the Layer 2 world. Post Dencun, Arbitrum offers average fees of just $0.005 per transaction, with throughput exceeding 20 transactions per second, making microtransactions that would be completely impossible on mainnet. Now, totally practical. If you want to participate in DeFi lending, borrowing, trading, yield farming, Arbitrum has the deepest liquidity and the most established protocols. It is where serious DeFi users operate in 2026. Arbitrum also has a governance token called ARB, which lets holders vote on the network's future direction. If you believe in Arbitrum's long-term future, ARB gives you a voice in how it develops. Optimism, the architecture behind the Layer 2 revolution. Optimism launched in December 2021 and has a unique position in the Layer 2 ecosystem, not just as a network, but as a technology provider for the entire industry. Optimism developed something called the OP Stack, an open-source framework that anyone can use to build their own Layer 2 network. Base was built using the OP Stack. Dozens of other chains use it too. This makes Optimism the architectural backbone of a huge chunk of the entire Layer 2 ecosystem. In 2026, Optimism supports DeFi applications, NFT marketplaces, and gaming platforms, while its OP Stack technology continues to power new networks being built around the world. Optimism has a governance token called OP, used for voting on the network's future and for ecosystem incentives. Together, Base, Arbitrum, and Optimism handle the vast majority of all Layer 2 activity. Start with any one of them and you have already solved your Ethereum gas fee problem for good. How to move your funds safely without getting scammed. This is the most important section of the video, because while Layer 2 networks are safe, the process of moving funds to them has attracted serious scammers, and making a mistake here can cost you everything. There are two ways to get your funds onto a Layer 2 network. The safest way: direct exchange withdrawal. if you hold crypto on a major exchange like Coinbase, Binance, or Kraken. Check if they support direct withdrawal to your chosen Layer 2 network. Many do, for example, withdrawing ETH from Coinbase directly to Base. Step 1. Open Coinbase and go to Send or Receive. Step 2. Choose ETH as your asset. Step 3. In the network options, select Base instead of Ethereum mainnet. Step 4. Enter your wallet address and confirm. That is it. Your ETH arrives on Base in minutes. No bridge, no risk, no complicated steps. This direct withdrawal method completely bypasses the need for any bridge and is always the safest option when available. The bridge method, use with caution. If you need to move funds from Ethereum mainnet to a Layer 2, you will need to use a bridge. The absolute rule is this: only ever use the official bridge of the specific network. For Base, bridge.base.org. For Arbitrum, bridge.arbitrum.io. For Optimism, app.optimism.io/bridge. Here is the danger: scammers build fake bridge websites that are perfect copies of the real ones. They advertise them through Google Ads, Telegram groups, and fake social media accounts. The moment you connect your wallet and approve a transaction on a fake bridge, every single token in your wallet is gone, permanently. Rules to stay safe: never click bridge links from ads, DMs, or social media posts. Always type the official URL manually in your browser. Triple check the URL before connecting your wallet. Never approve transactions you do not fully understand. When in doubt, do not proceed. Taking an extra 60 seconds to verify everything can protect your entire portfolio. The future: a world where gas fees simply do not exist. Here is the part of this story that gets genuinely exciting, where all of this is heading next. Even with Layer 2 fees being nearly zero in 2026, there is still one small friction point: you need to hold a tiny amount of ETH in your wallet just to pay those fees. For new users who only have USDC or other tokens, this is still a small barrier. This problem is being solved right now by a technology called account abstraction, specifically ERC 4337 and the newer EIP 7702. Account abstraction allows applications to pay the gas fees on behalf of their users, something called gas sponsorship. Imagine downloading a new DeFi app, connecting your wallet, and making your first transaction without ever needing ETH for gas. The app covers it completely. This is already being implemented by forward-thinking projects in 2026. The destination Ethereum is moving toward is a world where the average person uses blockchain applications every single day without ever knowing what a gas fee is. The complexity will be completely invisible. Just like you never think about server infrastructure when you send an email, Layer 2 networks got us 99% of the way there. Account abstraction will close the final gap. Conclusion: here is everything you need to remember from this video. The problem: Ethereum mainnet has limited capacity. When demand is high, users bid against each other for block space, and fees can reach $80 or more for a simple swap. The game changer: the Dencun upgrade in March 2024 introduced blob transactions through EIP 4844, cutting Layer 2 operating costs by up to 100 times overnight. The solution: 3 Layer 2 networks proven in 2026. Base, Coinbase-backed, easiest for beginners, fees under $0.01. Arbitrum, most battle-tested, best for DeFi, fees around $0.005. Optimism, creator of OP Stack, foundation of the Layer 2 ecosystem. How to move safely, best method. Withdraw directly from your exchange to the Layer 2. If bridging, only use the official bridge website. Always verify the URL manually. The future: account abstraction and gas sponsorship will make fees completely invisible for everyday users. In 2026 there is simply no good reason to keep paying Ethereum mainnet fees. The cheaper, faster, and safer alternative already exists. Now you know how to use it. If this video helped you, please hit the like button and subscribe to the Crypto Skill. Drop a comment below what has been your worst gas fee experience. I want to hear it. See you in the next video.